Oscar Wilde said, "I never travel without my diary. One should always have something sensational to read in the train." It's one of my favorite quotes about travel. And I've been staying at the Dorian Hotel, which is all inspired by the wit and wisdom of Mr. Oscar Wilde. It's called the Dorian after the Picture of Dorian Gray, a book that I absolutely adore. And let's just say that staying here at this hotel, I have some pretty sensational stories to share. The Dorian is the first and only hotel in Calgary to have a coveted Michelin key. And if you don't know what that is, Michelin keys are to hotels what Michelin stars are to restaurants. It was so exciting when I first walked into my room and saw the king-size bed, and then I ran over to the window to see the incredible view of downtown. I love all of the thoughtful touches in the room, especially all of those nods to Oscar Wilde. So there's little quotes around on the pillow or around the bar cart, just to acknowledge that he's here and everywhere at the Dorian. I feel very spoiled having Aesop toiletries, which are so nice smelling, and it just makes the shower feel so luxurious. And the bar cart is proudly Canadian, by the way, because all of the little goodies and snacks and drinks are Canadian. And there's 2 wine bottles as well, which are Dorian themed. One is the Dorian playwright and the Dorian novelist. So I love the fact that it's not only Canadian, but local as well. I have to say I've been really enjoying just putting on my cozy bathrobe, putting my slippers on, and kind of falling into the bed and curling up with this. The Picture of Dorian Gray, of course, they have a copy in every single room. There's a nice gym here that's 24 hours if you would like to work out instead of curling up in bed reading the Picture of Dorian Gray like I am, or maybe a little bit of both. And one of my favorite things about staying here is that it's dog friendly. So if you're a fellow dog lover like me, it's pretty nice to see dogs around the hotel and going through the lobby. Hi! I met a real cutie named Cleo who is also staying here at the hotel. They have dog biscuits in the lobby, and I think every dog who stays here probably has an expectation that when they cross the threshold, they're gonna get a dog treat. They even have in-room dog dishes and dog beds. And my favorite is you can actually buy your dog its own bathrobe. Good girl. I also love in my room that there's a portrait of not Dorian Gray, but of Oscar Wilde. And one of the coolest and most unique parts of this hotel is a portrait of Dorian Gray that's down in the lobby. And this is no ordinary picture, and like in the book, there's a lot more to this picture than meets the eye. In the book, this young man named Dorian Gray says that he would give absolutely anything to stay youthful, even his soul. And over the course of the book, he descends into a life of decadent excess, and while he does retain his youthful looks, the portrait of him becomes terribly disfigured. Beside the portrait, there's a QR code, and you reveal a confession, a secret, that will then be shared anonymously with other guests at the hotel. And your confession is going to be rated by some other guests at the hotel, and it's all anonymous. So as you and the other guests share their secrets and confessions and rate each other's, it subtly changes the picture of Dorian Gray. So you can go and do kind of a temperature check and see how grotesque his face is looking or how youthful, and that is a real-time reflection of all of the deep, dark secrets of people at the hotel. I'm definitely not going hungry here because there are so many great options to eat, starting with Prologue on the first floor. Prologue Cafe, they've got pastry and coffee for breakfast. They do lunch and dinner, and then it transforms into a cocktail bar in the evenings. And they also do a fabulous afternoon tea on weekends. Thank you so much. I've never been so excited to see a teapot. Look at the shape and the colors on this. I don't think anything beats that first sip, especially from such a pretty teacup. When I saw that they served afternoon tea, I just thought, well, I have to have afternoon tea at a hotel inspired by Oscar Wilde. And I don't think it's too far to say I'm obsessed with teapots and teacups and any sort of blue and white china. So this feels like it was made for me. I ordered Earl Grey. It's classic. It's such a nice place to sit in here, and they've got, you know, like big long tables if you wanted to get some work done or kind of cozy up in one of the booths where there's a nice sofa in the corner. As Oscar Wilde says, let me be surrounded by luxury. I can do without the necessities, which feels very appropriate looking at this absolutely divine tower of treats. Give me all the luxury. Bistro Novelle is on the second floor. They serve breakfast every day, and I think the absolute best place to sit there is right by the window where you can look outside and watch the world go by. Don't mind if I do have some wild blueberry pancakes. Wild blueberry, is that with an E for Oscar Wilde? I just love how they tie in that theme with everything. Plus, I'm sorry, but it's, I think, mandatory to have maple syrup when you're in Canada. Liberally applied, as you can see. Bon appetit! Up at the top of the Dorian, or the final chapter as they call it, is the Wilde on 27, up on the 27th floor. And I just love the atmosphere from the live music to the incredible view of downtown Calgary. They told me there was a view, you guys. I have to say, when I walked in here, it completely took my breath away because I didn't realize I would be in the view. I'm out here on a balcony, which they have enclosed for the colder months of the year. It's heated, it's so cozily lit with the candles, and I get to feel like I'm just floating as we sit here and enjoy the food. Being the Wilde on 27, of course, there are a lot of literary and Wilde references, starting with this really unique menu. And it looks like a book that you keep on your shelf, complete with a quote from Oscar Wilde himself. The appetizers here are called the Prologue. The main course is the narrative, and the dessert is the epilogue. And let me just say that this is one story I am really enjoying. I keep thinking of these two Oscar Wilde quotes. The first, I can't stand people who do not take food seriously. And I can tell you already, this is not a problem here. These people take food very seriously. And the second is, I have the simplest of tastes. I am always satisfied with the best. Feels very appropriate here. One more favorite Oscar Wilde quote that feels very appropriate when eating this kind of decadent dessert. I can resist everything except temptation. If, like me, maybe you've been up more of the night than you planned reading the Picture of Dorian Gray, they also have room service. They just brought in the room service, and I'm feeling very grateful because I am still waking up, so caffeinating currently, and I'm not sure there's anything better than Eggs Benny in a bathrobe to start the day that someone else makes. How could you not have a good day when it starts like this, honestly? A really unique dining option they have here is called Le Petit Chef, and it's really more of a show. A dinner and a show, very interactive and immersive dining experience. This is so clever, and I'm just so blown away by all the choreography with not only the timing of all of this animation on your plate and across your table, but it's all coordinated so well with the servers and the timing of bringing in the food, when they pour the wines to pair with the different courses. Like, just wonderfully done. This has just been so much fun. On the third floor here, there's an outdoor patio where they have an herb garden in the warmer months where they actually grow herbs that they then use in the restaurants. And up on the roof, they have beehives. So all year round, the bees are busy making honey, and then they use the honey in the different restaurants, and you can even take some home in the Prologue Cafe. It's called the Dorian Gold Honey. This is the Dorian Rooftop Honey Gelato. Look at how freaking cute this packaging is. And it's just so cool to be able to try something that those bees are making up on the rooftop here in downtown Calgary. There's some good little bees up there. I love the location of this hotel. If you ever want to leave the hotel, because frankly, I could very happily never step outside. But if you do, it is very centrally located and you can easily walk to some of my favorite spots in the city. So the river with all the riverfront kind of walking and biking trails. There's Calgary Tower and Stephen Avenue Mall. There's the library, which is incredible. And East Village, of course, one of my favorite parts of the city. So it's a really good central point that you can just do some really nice sightseeing from. So to borrow from the great Oscar Wilde again, as he said, I am very glad I have traveled. I could not agree more. And in particular, I have to say, I am very glad to have traveled here to Calgary and had the chance to stay at this beautiful hotel. I hope that you've enjoyed seeing these wonderful moments in the Dorian as much as I have. If you like this video, then please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already for lots more travel adventures. I also post lots more content over on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Threads, so you can follow me there for lots more, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye! Check out my other Calgary videos about top spots to eat and drink and fantastic things to see and experience. I'd also love to hear what appeals to you most about the Dorian Hotel. Leave me a comment and let me know.